You see security cameras everywhere, right? On buildings and stores, all over the place. But have you ever really stopped to think about what happens after they're installed? It's a question that, believe it or not, points to a huge gap in our safety, and that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Seriously, think about it for a second. We've got cameras on what feels like every corner, and we just kind of assume they're keeping us safe. But who is actually watching all of those video feeds 24/7? The answer is, well, it's a little unsettling. Most of the time, it's nobody.
And this really lays out the core problem perfectly. On one side, you've got the reality of human monitoring. Imagine a guard staring at a wall of screens. Focus drifts, people get tired. It's just human nature. And that leads to missed events and slow reactions. But then, on the other side, you have the potential of AI, a system that is always watching, sees everything at once, and reacts, well, instantly. This difference creates this massive blind spot in security. We have what you could call the illusion of safety, just because the cameras are there. But let's be real, just recording something bad happening is not the same as preventing it. And that distinction is absolutely critical.
For most security systems out there, the truth is they're completely reactive. They're basically used for forensics to figure out what went wrong after the fact. By the time anyone even reviews the footage, the break-in is over, the accident already happened, the damage is done. And that's not just an inconvenience. It costs real time, real money, and most importantly, it compromises safety.
This quote just nails it. It perfectly sums up the fundamental weakness of relying only on people to watch screens. The whole idea that a person can effectively monitor a dozen cameras 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's just not how our brains work. It's limited, it's slow, and yep, it's prone to human error.
But what if we could just flip that whole script? What if we could turn those passive cameras, the ones just recording history, into an active force that's shaping what's happening right now? Well, this is where the technology starts to get really, really cool.
So let's meet the SmartVue AI Security Officer. Now, it's really important to get what this is. This isn't a bunch of new cameras. It's an AI platform. You can think of it like a software brain that you connect to the cameras you already have. It instantly upgrades your whole system into a team of super-aware security guards who never, ever sleep.
So, the system plugs right into your existing video feeds. But instead of just passively recording to a hard drive somewhere, it's actively analyzing every single frame, in real time, constantly looking for anything that seems out of place. Okay, so how does it actually go from just seeing video to, thinking and acting like a real guard? Let's take a look at what this AI is specifically trained to look for. The AI is trained to recognize a whole range of very specific events. And we're not just talking about the obvious stuff like someone trying to force a door open. It can spot the subtle things, like a person just loitering around a loading dock way after closing time, or a car that's been parked in a fire lane for more than a couple of minutes. It can even detect critical safety issues, like someone slipping and falling in a warehouse.
The whole process is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly effective. It's basically a 4-step cycle that's always running. First, the AI is constantly analyzing. The second it detects a threat, boom, step 3, it sends an instant alert. And we're not talking about just a little ping. It sends the actual video clip to the right people. And finally, and this is crucial, it documents everything with a precise timestamp, creating a perfect record for any follow-up.
And this is the real game changer for the actual security staff. They're no longer just stuck being passive screen watchers. Instead, they get to be proactive first responders. They're acting on verified real-time intelligence. Their skills are finally being used when and where it matters the most.
So, all this tech is really impressive for sure. But what's the actual real-world payoff here? Why does this shift from reactive to proactive security make such a massive difference?
Well, the impact is huge. You get true 24/7 vigilance, which means way fewer missed incidents, period. And because the alerts are instant, response times get slashed from hours down to seconds. You actually move from being reactive to being preventative. You catch suspicious behavior before it becomes a real problem. And get this, by making your existing team way more effective, you can actually lower your operational costs.
And here's maybe the most incredible part, especially for anyone thinking about the budget. The number of new cameras or hardware upgrades you need, it's a big fat 0. The AI is specifically designed to work with the infrastructure you already own, which makes it a super efficient and cost-effective way to modernize your security.
And it gets even better.
Beyond just security, the AI also gathers all this data that can be incredibly valuable for business operations. I mean, imagine seeing heat maps of where customers spend the most time in your store, or analyzing traffic patterns to make your warehouse more efficient. It adds this whole other layer of value.
What we're really seeing here is the beginning of a whole new standard for security. This level of intelligent oversight isn't just for massive companies with giant budgets anymore. It's becoming an accessible and, frankly, essential tool for organizations of all sizes.
And the applications are just so broad. We're talking corporate offices, huge campuses, warehouses, apartment buildings, hospitals, schools, you name it. Basically, any place that already relies on CCTV can get an immediate benefit from adding this layer of intelligence on top.
When you boil it all down, the value proposition is incredibly simple and clear. It's about getting more safety for your people and your property, having fewer incidents to deal with, and doing it all while actually lowering your costs. It's a win-win-win.
This quote just sums it all up so perfectly. SmartVue turns passive cameras into active defenders. It's all about that fundamental shift. Your cameras are no longer just sitting there recording the past, they are actively protecting your present.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. For decades now, we've been putting eyes everywhere. But in a world where artificial intelligence is all around us, isn't it finally time we gave those eyes a brain? It's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.